Hey loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts, and today I've got a tutorial on how to use loop yarns. Before we jump in, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more free patterns, product reviews, and tutorials that you won't want to miss. If you've been in a craft store lately, I'm sure you've seen a lot of yarns that look like this. These are the new loop yarns, just one of the new novelty yarns that are coming out in pretty much every line right now. So the whole hype about these is that they're really fun, they're easy to use, they work up super fast, and you can get the look of knitting without having to use knitting needles, which I think is pretty fun because I don't knit, so let me knit without needles and you've got one happy girl right here. So lots of different lines have these kinds of yarns. I've seen ones from Red Heart, I've seen Lion Brand has their collection too. Both of these yarns are actually from Joann's, and thank you to my friends from Joann's for providing the yarns for this tutorial today. This one is Yarnspirations Bernat Elise Blanket EZ, and then this one is Big Twist Loopity Loops, which is a Premier Yarns brand. Big Twist for sure I know is only available at Joann's. I'm not sure if Bernat Elise Blanket EZ is available anywhere else. I think maybe at Michael's, but I'm not 100% sure. When you go to the store, this is exactly what it looks like. When I went to my Joann's, they had them in just giant bins with a whole bunch of different colors, and I'm going to show you the color card that Joann sent to me for all of the colors that are available for these yarns. Right now, I'm finding that they run about 10 bucks a piece, which honestly, you can make a blanket out of 6 of these. So 60 bucks worth of yarn for a blanket is pretty reasonable. So I think 10 bucks a piece is not like too far-fetched. And of course, you can always just take in 50% coupons and like buy them when they're full price and save a whole bunch of money. So as far as the specs on this yarn, you get 18 yards, which doesn't seem like a lot, but like I said, you can use 6 of these to make a blanket, so 18 yards is plenty. It's 100% polyester, and it feels a lot like the Blanket Easy yarn that you've been getting from Bernat for years already. It's nice and thick and plush, and each of the little loops, which I'll kind of show you a little bit more in depth in a second, makes it really, really easy to knit with. There's even a sample of kind of what the project looks like finished. This isn't kind of a traditional knit stitch. This looks like a twisted knit stitch, but it gives you an idea of what the yarn looks like when it's done. I pulled out a sample of the yarn here so you can see what it looks like. I just kind of pulled a length of yarn from the outside of this ball here, and this is what the loop yarn looks like. There are individual little loops that kind of feel a lot like knit loops. The glory of a yarn like this is that since the loops already exist, you don't have to make them, and that's why you don't need to use needles. You can just use your fingers. I'm going to do a little tutorial later in the video to show you exactly how to do some basic stitches and some basic techniques when you're working with this loop yarn. When Joann sent me the samples for the yarn to play with, they also sent me the color cards, which I thought was kind of nice, because that way I could see what colors these yarns would be available in before they were in stores. So this is the color card for Big Twist Loopity Loops, and you can see that the color palette is a little bit more like baby yarn type colors. So you've got some nice neutrals in here. You've got white, you've got a light gray, which in some lights looks like a really pale watery blue, and sometimes it looks gray. So you can kind of go with your discretion on that. This one's my absolute favorite. This one is called Peach, which just feels like a really pale pink to me. And then this one is called Pink. This one is Lilac, and then we've got Turquoise, which I also love, which is a little bit more vibrant, I think, than just kind of a regular like baby blue. And then there's Seafoam, which is what I have here. I have Lime as well. And then I think Lime would actually look really pretty with Tangerine, like these two together. Even probably bring in the Seafoam would be a really pretty color palette. I'd totally use those together. And then you've got some variegated versions down here. So this is a pastel multi, and honestly, when you get to the variegateds, that's kind of when you lose me, because there's really no way to tell what this is going to look like worked up until you actually work it. And if you're into that, go ahead and experiment. I am a girl who likes sure things. Well, this one is blue and white, which I think I would probably try because it's a little bit paler. I just don't love how like the color changes so abruptly here. It's just not my thing. If it's your thing, go for it. And then there's Pink and White, which I think is really pretty too. And then there is a color card for the Bernat as well. They have a lot more colors, and I think they were leaning more towards kind of like the home decor side of working with this yarn. So they've got some variegateds too, which I don't hate as much, but still liking the solids personally. So this one is slate grays. Again, this is all grays, which I love. This I would totally use. That I have no problem with. This one is called Warm Clay, and it's got some pinky peach tones, some kind of clay tones, some cream, and then this really nice kind of neutral, almost oatmeal looking color. And then this one is called Harvest Grays. It's, again, it's probably just like the normal, the grays, the slate grays, but then they add in like this mustard color. The only thing I don't like about this one is when the mustard transitions back into gray, it looks green. Do you see that? I don't love it. I don't love it. Seaport teals, I don't mind as much. If I had kind of like a nautical themed living room or something that pulled in some of these like lighter blues and teals and turquoise colors, I'd totally go for that, but that's not the color of my living room. And then this one is called Denim Blues, and yeah, it's got some blues in it, but I feel like these colors are kind of washed out. This doesn't feel like denim to me. I don't love it. Thistle is kind of fun. I think this would be pretty for a little girl's room. It's got like cream, some grays, and then a couple different versions of purple. And then you've got all of your solids over here. This is cream, so that's what I have here. And the cream is probably my favorite of all of them. The dark gray is fun too. I wish it was a little bit lighter. This gray just feels a little too dark for me. And then there's black, burgundy, which looks not burgundy, not dark enough to be burgundy personally. Country blue, which is really not bad. I like this one. I like this one more than the blue that I worked with before. And then there's this mauve, which just, they should have just called it purple because it is just purple. Okay, so this is the color card for the Bernat Elise Blanket Easy, and then this one is the color card for Big Twist Loopity-Loops. Both of these yarns are available at Joann's. So when you're ready to start working with your loops yarn, I encourage you to just pull the ball band off and work from the outside. Working from, trying to find the inside of this, I mean, come on, you're gonna make a big old mess. So just kind of pull a few loops from the outside. You will need a pair of scissors, and one of the things that I like to do when I first get started is to snip a couple of the loops just to give myself a tail. So what you'll notice about this yarn, and like these first two loops don't actually look good anyway, so I won't feel bad snipping those. But the way that this yarn is constructed is it's actually one long strand, but they were engineered, oh, this one fell right apart, engineered to kind of create these loops here at the bottom. So with a pair of scissors, you can just kind of go in, find that loop that connects it at the bottom, and just cut it. And then you're going to have a strand. And I like to use that as my tail, as a nice finish at the end. So this loop here on the right is actually going to be my first loop. And I'm just going to do a little sample with you guys. So you don't have to worry about any kind of casting on with this since the loops already exist. So I'm going to do just a quick little demo with 10 loops. So you're going to count off your loops, and these will count as your stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So these will be my stitches. This is going to be the base of my project. So to start, I'm going to do just the traditional knit stitch, which I think is the easiest to do with this yarn. What you'll find when you continue to work is you'll want your working yarn kind of hanging out around the top here, so it makes it easier to pull through your loops. So I lost my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10? Yep. Okay. So this is my very first loop of my row. So I'm going to take the next loop, the loop that's right next to it, and I'm going to bring it behind the loop and pull it through. Just like that. Now I will say, and you will find this as well, the first row can be very, very fiddly. Very, very fiddly. But once you get out of this row, you will have no problems. We're going to find the next loop, and we're going to pull it in through loop number 9 here. Just like that, and kind of pull it up and through. Get the next loop, and pull it up through loop 8 here. And you'll do that for each loop across. Find the next loop, make sure you don't skip any because it's going to be really, really obvious, and pull it through. Next loop, pull it through. And continue on down the row. And this is the knit stitch. Once you get the hang of it, you can almost do this without even looking, as long as you don't miss loops. All right, so I've pulled those all through. Like I said, first row is a little bit fiddly, but once you get going, it looks really, really good. And what's nice about these is since the loops are individual and exist on their own, pulling on these does not affect the loops next to them. So when I pull on this loop, and pull it up, it is not going to make the loop next to it fall out, which is really, really nice. And it just makes it a little less, it gives you a little less anxiety learning a new craft when you know that it's really, really hard to mess it up. Okay, so we're going to go back the other direction now. And I'm just kind of adjusting my loops so they're all kind of laying flat so that none of them are twisted, because that can get a little obvious in your work as you continue to go. So I've got to the end of my row and I'm ready to pick up this next loop here, and I'm going to pull it through my first loop, continuing with the knit stitch. Grab the next loop and pull it through the second loop on your row. Grab the next loop and pull it through the next loop on your row. Really, really easy, really fun. I think one of the things that many makers are finding is that this is a really fun project to work on with your children, because again, you can't really mess it up. And also this kind of chenille kind of look makes it hard to see mistakes unless you have like giant holes in it. Because I'm saying that from experience because I've worked with this briefly before and I thought I was hot stuff and did not realize that I was missing stitches. So just kind of keep an eye on it, but it is really fun to just kind of feel the yarn on your fingers and kind of play around with this. And it's nice that you don't need any needles because there's no worry about dropping stitches or anything else that you might have to worry about when you're knitting traditionally. So that's the knit stitch. And again, you can kind of pull those loops up so you have nice even work. Now what's nice about this, and especially if you're trying to do any kind of project that includes like a border, or if you want to put any kind of like purling on this, the opposite side of this looks like a purl stitch. You see those purl bumps there, which is absolutely gorgeous. So let's say for example you were making a project where like the first few rows were purled, or maybe it was garter stitch. You can just do the knit stitch on the right side and flip it over and use that side and it looks like garter. Now let's move on to the purl stitch. So let's say, you know, we completed a couple rows of knitting and now we want to do a purl stitch. So for knitting, we were pulling the loops through the back. For purling, we want to pull the loops through the front of our work. So I'm going to bring the yarn kind of down below my work because it's going to make it easier for me to pull the loops up. So this is my first loop for my new row. I'm going to take the loop next to it and I'm going to push it through the front of that loop. Just like that. That's how you'll do a purl stitch. Going to take the next loop and push it through the next loop in my working row. I've got the next loop here and I'm going to pull it through the next loop in my working row. Just pull it right through. Find the next loop, pull it through the next loop in the working row. It's really quite easy, and these are just basic stitches. And what's nice about this project, and as people continue to experiment with it, is different companies and different makers are playing around with creating different types of stitches with this. So there's twisted stitches, there's ridges, there's all kinds of fun stuff that's happening right now. So these are just kind of the basics for you to get a feel for how this yarn works. And push it through for your knit stitch. Easy peasy. Let's go back the other way. So I'm just going to kind of flip my yarn around here. This is my first stitch. I'm going to find the next loop, push it through, find the next loop and push it through. So easy. And I'll be honest, like this is not for everyone. If I wasn't given the opportunity to use this yarn for free, I don't know that I would have gravitated towards it, but it's just one of those things where it's like so many novelty yarns come out every single season. You're going to see different types of like chenille and velour and I don't know, just like crazy junk, like those super huge jumbo yarns keep coming out. So it's like, try it once. If you don't love it, don't do it again. Like that's totally fine. There's no law out there that you have to try every single yarn that's out, but you never know until you try. And that's how you do the knit stitch with loop yarn. Again, you'll just want to kind of pull your loops up so you don't lose any down here. And you can even make like a really simple and fun pattern by doing like 2 rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, so on and so forth. Like anything that you can do with these kinds of simple stitches in knitting, you can easily do with this loop yarn. So I'm going to make my sample a little bit longer and then we're going to talk about how to add another ball or to change colors. So I made my sample a little bit longer. I'm ready to continue on to my next row, but I only have 4 loops left on my tail here, and I need 10 to complete my row. So this technique works if you need to add another skein or if you're just ready to change colors at the end of a row. So I'm just going to leave these 4 here, and I'll show you what I do when it's time to weave in some ends at the end. But I'm going to grab my next color. I'm going to go with this really pretty cream. This is the Bernat Elise Blanket EZ, and I'm actually just going to leave 2 loops at the end, just like I did at the beginning of my project, because I'm going to use those to weave in the ends. I'm going to grab this next loop and I'm just going to pull it right through for a knit stitch on the next row and continue to finger knit just like I was before. That is the absolute easiest way to change colors in any craft that's ever been ever. Like, it's so easy. And again, I feel like with something like knitting and even sometimes crochet, there's all these extra kind of techniques that you have to do to make changing colors seem seamless. But with something like this, all you have to do is just change the color, because it's going to make your loops for the next row be the color that you want them to be. And then if you're adding new skeins, you don't have to worry about like tying anything together or making anything like super complicated. And then you just kind of continue finger knitting like you were before, pulling the loops in front or behind depending on what stitch you're working. So I did one more row in the cream because honestly this is super addictive once you kind of keep going. So if you thought changing colors was a breeze, you are absolutely going to love binding off this project. So easy. I like to bind off starting off on the side that's opposite from the working yarn. So you're going to grab the first loop and you're going to push the second loop through the first loop, and then push the next loop through that and continue that across, just pushing the next live loop through the loop that's on in your hand. Kind of push it down, make sure everything's nice and even, and you're getting a nice little knit kind of look. You're getting those pretty V's that we all recognize on the top. Continue to push that live loop through the loop that's on your hand. Push it all the way back to bind off all of your loops. And what's nice about that is you don't have to worry about having enough yarn to bind off. You just do it. You just do it. It's so easy. And as a crocheter, I just like easy things. So I'm going to leave this loop here for a second. I'm going to cut the yarn 2 loops back on the working side. And then I'm going to cut these loops free to make this just an open strand of yarn. So there's the first loop and the second loop, and I'm just going to pull this strand through my working loop to finish my bind off. Look at that, easy peasy, and it's beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to go to the back, which also looks really fun, and we can again just use our fingers to weave in the ends. So we're just going to grab the ends and kind of work it under a couple stitches here. And this doesn't have to be perfect. What's nice about this is the yarn has so much texture to it that you're going to barely be able to see it either way, and just kind of weave it down in and out of itself. And then you can just cut off the excess and you're finished. One thing you will notice is you're going to get all of these little specklies, all of these little like cut-offs from the yarn kind of falling all over everything. Just don't do this in black leggings. That's all I'll say. When it comes to finishing off anywhere that you might have changed color, you're going to do the same. You're just going to cut these loops free and kind of start weaving in the ends underneath your work. And that is it when it comes to working with these loops yarns. Like I said, they're really fun to try, and just like any other novelty yarn, you might love it, you might hate it, but you don't know until you try it. I'm just going to tuck this back here because it makes it prettier. So I will include a link below for both the Bernat Elise Blanket EZ and also the Loopity Loops yarn. Both are available at your local Joann's, and if you can't get it from Joann's stores, you can get it from Joann's online. I am currently finishing up a project using the Loopity Loops yarn, and when that project is done, it's called the Knitflix throw. I will include a link to it in the description. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please make sure that you like this video and also subscribe to my channel for more tutorials, product reviews, and free patterns. I am Tony with TL Yarn Crafts, and I will see you next time.